Hello everyone, and welcome to Autocrat, France edition.
I guess so, yeah.
This is episode 58, Take Your Daughter to Sacrifice Day. Now, please don't actually do that, right? But for the purpose of this episode, please bring her.
We're going to be talking about it, we are not encouraging it. That appears to be the motto of so much of Greek mythology, and indeed the whole podcast, I guess.
If you remember, we finished episode 54 by talking about Agamemnon's family. He married
Clytemnestra.
after killing her husband Tantalus III and their child.
Yep. Just casually, you know, there's a husband and child in the way that stops you marrying this woman. So the ancient Greek handbook of how to date women would say, kill them. Anyway, Agamemnon and Clytemnestra had 3 daughters together. Iphigenia, Chrysothemis, and Electra. They also had a son, Orestes. What a nice, happy picture, right? I'm sure it will stay that way forever. Anyway, on with the episode, shall we?
We shall. The army that Agamemnon and Menelaus had summoned together met at Aulis. We then get a long list from Apollodorus of exactly who showed up and how many ships full of men they have. Hyginus does the same thing as well, from what we can tell from the Latins, telling really the same broad story that follows. Now, we're going to spare you all of that, and we're just going to summarize.
Yes, because it's boring, it has more than one page of this, it's just a list. There are a few highlights, though.
And we might put the list on our website if you're really curious.
I mean, maybe, if I can find it again.
Agamemnon and Menelaus contribute 160 ships between them, which is impressive.
Yeah.
We also get Tlepolemus, son of Heracles, and Idomeneus, son of Deucalion, showing up.
See, I told you we would get a son of Heracles showing up.
You did. Achilles, leading his Myrmidons, also shows up with 50 ships.
Remember, these are the ant people that his grandfather had made for him by Zeus because he was lonely.
I do remember. In total, we hear of 1,013 ships.
Yeah.
That's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's what Apollodorus said. I ended up with just under 1,000 based on everything that was listed in his book, but I was adding manually, so I might be doing something wrong.
Or maybe some of them weren't mentioned.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, this army that has showed up to go and punch the Trojans for stealing Helen is now in Aulis. They sacrifice to Apollo, and then get an unusual omen. A snake climbs into a tree and eats a mother bird with her 8 chicks before then turning to stone.
Alright.
Now, apparently, although I find it impressive that anyone knows what this means 9 years will go by and Troy will be captured during the 10th year. Despite this pretty discouraging omen, you'd think, they still get ready to sail for Troy. At least it's good to have an end date in mind, I guess. Anyway, Apollodorus has Agamemnon being the head of the expedition, and Achilles, at just 15 years old, being in charge of the fleet. I don't think it's a good idea to leave him in charge at 15, but whatever, I guess his reputation precedes him. I guess we can infer as well that Achilles hiding as a girl was before the war began in this narrative, although we've said it started while Achilles was hiding. The point is, Greek chronology is complicated, we are moving on. So, the fleet sets off, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the way, they stop for a light bit of pillaging at Mysia, having gotten lost. The king of Mysia, Telephus, another son of Heracles by the way, chases the Greeks back to the ships and attacks, but Achilles just sees him off. Telephus gets chased off, gets caught in vines and wounded with a spear. I'm given no further details here, so the fleet sets off once again. However, a storm means they get lost and take ages to actually reconvene back at Aulis again. Now, this is the hilarious bit of this. It takes them 2 years to get the army together when Helen is taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
They then get blown off course and spend 8 years limping back home and then reassembling at the place they started. So, although the war happens over 10 years, they're actually gone for 20.
Wow.
Anyway, back to Aulis. Do you want to take it from here?
Sure. The Greeks are at this point lost and without a leader. Feels like Agamemnon could still lead them, but sure, why not? Anyway, who would show up but Telephus? He's still wounded because his spear wound hasn't healed, and apparently the god Apollo advised him to seek out Achilles. He promises to lead the army to Troy in exchange for help. So Achilles helps him, cleaning the rust of his spear. Now, we can only assume that he helps clean the wood. The text is a bit unclear.
Sure.
Telephus showed them the way, and Calchas, the same guy who interpreted the whole snake thing, checked it through with his divination. Feels like they could have gone with that to start with.
Yeah, they've got a guy who can see the route. Why not just use him? But okay.
However, there's a problem.
There is.
The winds mean that the fleet can't sail.
Ah.
Calchas has an explanation, however, and a solution. The reason is that Artemis is angry with them.
Okay. Why?
Well, remember that Atreus had not actually sacrificed that golden lamb he had promised to in episode 54?
Oh, yes, during the middle of the whole chaos that was the house of Tantalus.
Yes.
Sure.
Added to that, when Agamemnon had shot a deer, he had boasted that Artemis wouldn't have been able to shoot it better than he did.
Oh, just don't do it. Stop.
Don't worry, though. There is a solution.
Oh, good. What is it?
Agamemnon just has to sacrifice his prettiest daughter to Artemis.
Yay! I'm so glad the solution exists.
So, Odysseus and some other guy are sent to
Clytemnestra.
To go and fetch Iphigenia.
Yeah. It feels objectively problematic that not only do you have to kill your daughter, you have to decide which one of them is prettiest and thereby make an open statement to the other two. Well, I guess are happy about it. It's a mixed feeling.
Now, they hide the real reason and just say that she's going to marry Achilles as a reward for his serving in the military. This feels like a lame excuse. By any standards.
He hasn't even fought yet. What do you mean reward for services? He spent 8 years being a boat boy.
Now, Clytemnestra, however that's pronounced, gives her to them. She is taken to Agamemnon and placed on the altar.
Oh.
Agamemnon raises the knife, ready to kill her.
Oh.
Fortunately, though, Artemis whisks her away to the Taurians around the Black Sea area and makes her a priestess.
Right. Okay.
Antoninus Liberalis says that the reason they're called Taurians is because a bull appeared on the altar instead of Iphigenia.
Sure.
Artemis makes her immortal.
Sure, why not?
Iphigenia gets transferred to the White Island and made the wife of Achilles as the goddess Osilokia. Isn't he? No, he's not married yet, that one.
He's not married. He did... Actually, I don't know. Is he married? I think one of the texts did call Didamia his wife, but I'm not sure.
Well, anyway.
At minimum, he's had a child with another woman, so that's complicated.
This White Island is, we think, the modern Snake Island in Ukraine.
Yeah? So I guess if you go to Ukraine today, you could still see Iphigenia there, hanging round. I mean, they don't put that on enough brochures.
And also don't go to Ukraine at the minute.
And also, I don't think Iphigenia will be there, more to the point.
Hesiod's catalogue of women says she gets transformed into the goddess Hecate, which is kind of random.
Yeah. I mean, Euripides also has plays called Iphigenia at Aulis and Iphigenia in Taurus, but there's not really enough time to go into them here. However, what I will say is I will add a belated jingle for all the new sources we've had.
It's a sauce, but don't put it on pasta.
Anyway, a bull, deer, or other animal gets put in place of the missing daughter Iphigenia, so although there is a sacrifice, it's not Iphigenia. That said, our new source Lucretius is more unambiguous that Iphigenia is dead and Agamemnon killed her, so I guess it's a case of whatever you choose to believe. Anyway, with that bit of attempted or successful filicide done, the fleet sets sail. I'm going to skip over all the shenanigans in between, as I've done with other heroes in the past, but eventually they get there. Now, Thetis, the goddess, had warned her son Achilles not to be the first man off the ships, as the first man to disembark would also be the first one dead. Instead, a bright young spark by the name of Protesilaus is the first one to leap overboard, and he's eventually killed by Hector.
And is he the first dead?
He is. However, there's a weird story going on here, because his wife Laodamia doesn't appear to have been ready to accept this. She made a replica of him and, in the words of Apollodorus, quote-unquote, consorted with this fake Protesilaus.
She had a body pillow, basically.
Yes, she has an ancient Greek body pillow. It's not what I expected. This whole display made the gods take pity on her, and Hermes was sent to bring Protesilaus back up from Hades. Laodamia was overjoyed, thinking that her husband was back from Troy. I mean, I guess that means the whole body pillow thing carried on for 10 years, given that the Trojan War is 10 years long? I don't know. Anyway. I guess this was more of a one-time thing, though, because Protesilaus gets taken back to Hades. Maybe he was allowed a day pass or something.
That results in Laodamia stabbing herself to death.
Yeah, it's a very strange tangent. I just thought the body pillow was noteworthy enough to bring into the story. Back to the Greeks, however. Upon landing, the Greeks, led by Achilles, chase the Trojans off and establish a beachhead on the plains, so they are actually on Trojan territory now. The Trojans get allies to help them from nearby cities. This includes, I don't know if you've heard of him, a minor nobleman called Aeneas.
Ooh, I have heard of him.
Yeah, he's a minor figure. He doesn't get his own book or anything, don't worry about it. As a minor Trojan nobleman, presumably Aeneas was off somewhere else and wouldn't normally have had much to do with this whole saga because, well, this concerns the main Trojan branch of the dynasty. We now skip past the first 9 years of the war. This is because all the action we're interested in takes place during the 10th. So next time, we begin the Iliad.
Woohoo!
We've finally gotten to it.
We have gotten to the Iliad.
So, you can look forward to that next time, and until next time, thank you all very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week, everyone.